down and confused, and you don't remember who you're talking to. Concentration, slip away.
The first one is that how I felt was a choice, and that my feelings would not depend on finding the love of my life. And I don't have to feel ashamed if I failed at something. I made a lot of bad choices in my life based on pursuing what I thought love was and thinking that some man would fix me, and getting very despondent when I didn't measure up to my own or somebody else's expectations, and giving up easily. And it took me a long time to figure this all out.
The first piece of advice I'd give my 16-year-old self is to know that I have to learn according to the way I understand, and to not feel so bad that I don't understand the way somebody else is talking, but rather try and either translate it into the way I can get it, and or ask somebody to speak to me in another way. Even though I didn't really understand, I would tell people I understood because it seemed like it was easier. The other piece of advice I would give myself is really to appreciate my parents more. When I was 16, my father was dead and my mother was a pain in the tuchus. Like I think all parents are for all teenagers. From Ashes Chayil, because of my mother, a lot of great things happened, and because of my father, a lot of great things happened for me. And I had a lot more respect, and I was appreciated more and accepted more just because of the integrity and their reputation, and to appreciate more, both how to understand and appreciate what everybody who came before me had done in being trailblazers, and I think it would have changed me greatly.
Hi everybody, I'm Adam Mindell, one of the directors here at Beit Teshuva, and this is some question to ask. What advice would I give to my 16-year-old self if I could? There's a book there. Go find a teacher, go find a therapist, go find somebody to learn from, because I didn't understand life, and I'm probably a therapist, or a really good rabbi maybe, up in a society that teaches things backwards. So I thought at age 16 that it was about conquering and slaying the world. So I would, just put my energies into going to Wall Street and making money, right? With really abandonment of my inside world, or abandonment of my issues, or insight or understanding of my issues. And I kind of wish I knew then what I know now, but I don't.
And so I sent some.
Number two would be, under any circumstances, no matter what happens in life, like almost like a warning, like, do not open this bottle, do not try cocaine. Like the biggest thing I would tell my 16-year-old self is, do not try cocaine. I would, in a million years, think that where cocaine took me in my life would ever happen. I had great successes. I was a young broker, 101st floor of Wall Street, and lived long enough to survive it, but the pain that would cause. And I think I would like to have the conversation with my 16-year-old self of what it is to be a human being. And I'm not sure how much I would have gotten, but that being imperfect is just fine. It's actually what it is to be a human being, is to be imperfect. And to make peace with some of my imperfections. And versus the demand of always not feeling measuring up enough against who and what. I would have liked to have done different kind of work spiritually and emotionally at age 16 to find great peace, which I didn't find until well in my 30s.
Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed.
My 16-year-old person, I would have to say that at that point in my life, my mother was diagnosed with cancer and was going to die. And that was my only caregiver, so it carried a lot of heavy weight for me, and I'd already been involved with drugs and alcohol from an early age. I probably would let him know that it's going to be okay and that there are people that care about him, even though there were many people calling him the black sheep, and I would just hold him and let him understand I care about him. I think that's something that wasn't available at that point. The other thing I would say is that for most of my youth, I grew up without a father and carried a heavy weight from a young age that I was unloved and unwanted, and that he didn't care, and that I was a piece of leverage in my mother's life, and that wasn't the case. I didn't know the truth, and just because I didn't know the truth didn't mean I had to act out in anger and frustration and bury it in drugs and alcohol and criminal behavior. That just because I don't know something doesn't mean I have to create something. I would have had that kind of conversation. So I think the two things that stood out most for me at 16 that would have been beneficial is, one, understanding that just because my father wasn't there doesn't mean I wasn't loved. And secondly, that because my mother had cancer it didn't mean the end of the world. And it wasn't God's fault, or it wasn't somebody's fault that people get cancer and they go through that process of passing over. And that death isn't a bad thing, but I didn't understand that at the time when nobody sat down to explain it to me. So those would be the two things that were like foundational. Getting my recovery today that helped me transform my life, and I was able to have that conversation with a man at 29 years old. I was in prison getting a life sentence. And then believing I would get out of prison. And these are the kind of questions that helped free my soul and helped me find my path to come home today after 28 years of incarceration. So, yeah, these two questions would be very pressing.
For this moment to arise, you were only waiting for this moment.
So what would I tell my 16-year-old self, or what would I want my 16-year-old self to know? You know, those were really hard years, actually. I look back at that time, and my parents were divorced, my father had had a stroke, he was paralyzed, and I was living with him, and things were really tough. You know, I don't know if I would have advised my 16-year-old self to do things any differently than I did. I think that maybe what I would have wanted my 16-year-old self to have was more encouragement. Maybe if I had the opportunity to speak to my 16-year-old self, I would tell her that she can do it. And that she will ultimately be okay, and that the things that are so difficult and painful are really the things that will help to make her into who she will ultimately become. And I think that I would also want to tell my 16-year-old self to appreciate who she is and to feel proud of who she is, because she really does have a lot to be proud of. And that's it.
Dear 16-year-old me, appreciate your life. Everyone's time in this world is limited, so make the very most of it. Cherish the time you have with your loved ones. As my father always reminds me, take mental snapshots in your mind as you experience the beautiful moments with your friends and family. While the moment may eventually pass, the memory will last forever. Don't just ask your parents for permission, but rather for their advice on life. You are blessed to be given parents that show you what it means to live and work with integrity. Learn how to emulate that quality. Find what you love to do, and it will likely be what you are good at. Work hard and put forward 100% just as they do. Know how much they love and adore you, and it must be for a good reason. And always remember, just keep swimming.